Welcome back to Rarest Photos. I wanted to make sure you guys know that I don't forget to read your comments. There's a lot of comments every single day, and I really try to read them all. Even if it's not the same day, it might be the next day that I see it or the day after. So I want to feature some of these comments. And once again, I was really good about doing it daily, but I'll get back to that because I know y'all like to see and also share. I also like to share your comments with other subscribers. Brenda, appreciate you. You said the Lucy and Elvis story would be a great movie. I pulled up a document from 1988 or 89 that I think it was NBC had optioned the rights to make it into a movie, and then Derry Matera had said that there was a writer's strike, and that stopped that. And then I saw something else. I want to say it was 1997, about 10 years later, maybe even later than that. And CBS was potentially going to do a mini-series on it. So I'll tell you what, if we ended up getting some sort of DNA proof for Desiree, I guarantee you it would turn into a TV movie. Hey, Elizabeth. What a bad person. She was jealous of her daughter. What a shame. A bad-natured person. I've got it on really good authority from people that have been around Priscilla that she is not as she seems. Let me just put it like that. Let me see here. Also, come on, I'm sure Lisa put her daughter on her DPA. I think you're talking about, I'm not sure exactly if DPA is the right acronym. It might be. But we know that Riley was in the air. In the book that she wrote, she put in there that she's trying to get an update to see how her mom is doing. And Danny said, hey, I didn't want you to hear about this when you land, because she was going over Death Valley at that point in time. And so it stands to reason that Riley was not part of the agreement to pull the plug. Now, can I say for certain that's not the case? I can't, but you would have thought that Riley would have put that in the book. Oh, my mom was suffering. She always told me that she didn't want to be resuscitated, so I gave a verbal or a written agreement to pull the plug. But we never heard any of that stuff in the actual book. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. So that's kind of where my hot take on that. Did Priscilla really pull the plug on Elvis's daughter, Lisa Marie? D. Soul says yes. So what I remember about that day is the fact that they said that the family made the decision to DNR, to pull the plug. And then we also heard that Riley didn't make it there. So who can make the decision? Really, the only person that I think can make the decision would have been Priscilla. But what we don't know is we don't know whether or not Danny had a medical power of attorney. Oh, that's what I think that's MPA. I think that's what you said. But you would think that Riley would be. But that being said, Danny and Lisa were very close. Diana, you said, has anyone looked at the wedding date and the date Lisa was born? Was she pregnant on her wedding day? A lot of people think that. 9 months to the day of the wedding, a child is born. Doesn't that sound like it's not correct? We know a gestation period is longer. That being said, Lisa could have been born early, but doesn't it just seem to fit a narrative? And if anybody's going to fit a narrative, it would be Colonel Parker, who pushed for the wedding to be. It was so even though those that were close to Elvis didn't get to attend. That was a big thing for Red when Red recorded Elvis after the firing, and he said that hurt him really bad. And Elvis said he was, forgot exactly what it was that he said because I'm driving. Anyways, it was pushed. It was a push job, so that he was pushed into it and forced, something like that. Hey, Marcy, you said you have some valid suspicions regarding Priscilla, but I don't believe Desiree is Elvis's daughter, unless DNA says otherwise. She really does not look like Elvis, in my humble opinion. Well, I appreciate that. And that's the one thing you know how they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. there's a certain contingent of people that don't think that Desiree looks like Elvis. And then there's a certain contingent that thinks that she looks just like Elvis. And I can't tell you guys that you're right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? I know what I know. I mean, I know what I believe. I believe there's a lot of Desiree that looks like Elvis. But she has a more sweeter look than Lisa did. Lisa's got more of a sultry sort of a look. But Elvis, for the most part, had a very, very sweet look, sweet smile, sweet eyes, sweet disposition, and that's not taking anything away from Lisa at all. Hey Gary, can somebody please tell me the meaning of MITTE? It's made it to the end. I appreciate you asking that. You see it at the end of so many videos, and you're just asking, and TCB is taking care of business, obviously. It's funny, it should have been TCOB. But who needs to be exact, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, TCB is taking care of business. So made it to the end. Made it to... Could have been just MITE to make it shorter, but I don't know. But I appreciate you being on here, Gary. And I appreciate that question. We get that question a lot. It's a beautiful night in Tennessee, by the way. It's cold. Not as cold as it's been, but it's gonna be down to 16 degrees in the middle of the night. So I know that a lot of y'all are still struggling with some cold and some ice and some snow. Some of y'all have emailed me about it, put it down in the messages here and the comments. And I just saw something the other day that said, maybe it was last night, that said that 98% of the country is going to be below freezing next week. So I mean, it'll kill the bugs. That's a good thing. But if you're like me, you'd rather it not be cold. I got to get you to change your profile name there, 05020502able. I want to know a name. Tell me, Sarah Adams or Lisa. It'd be great to have, or I love Elvis 02 or something like that. I seriously think Prissy didn't want Lisa to live. And I also think that she and Bam Margera had something to do with the trust, that so she could contest it in court, saying it was fraudulent. Why would she move closer to getting Grayson, taking everything that Elvis worked for his whole life? Yeah, I mean, she basically filed it and said that she believed that the signatures were fraudulent. The signatures that were on there was Riley and Ben, if I remember correctly. Riley, Ben, and Lisa. So it's no wonder that they went to battle, Riley and her. Vernon said that Elvis took Prissy out of the will because she got enough out of him in the divorce. I mean, she did. She did. I mean, yeah, the first one might have been potentially a little light, but she agreed to it, and the attorney was like, are you sure? Are you sure we could give you more? And she said, no, that's enough. But then she ran out of her money so quick because her business genius mind failed her, like it's done all of her life, including losing all the money with, Barry Siegel in the American Idol deal, and losing Lisa's fortune while she was still taking $900,000 a year for not having a job that Lisa was unaware of. Her genius mind back then failed her. And then so her California attorneys said, hey, we can get you more money. We'll go back in there and we're going to claim fraud. And so they claimed fraud and sued Elvis. Now that's Scientology. You can't have any medicine, says Swan Doll, and no life-saving procedures, or she probably would have lived. That is one crazy cult. I grew up out there in the desert of California. And yeah, there was a Scientology center out there in Joshua Tree, I believe it was. I was just never into it. I do remember one time when I was about 23 or 24 in Nashville. I was at a Books A Million, and there was some sort of a L. Ron Hubbard book stand or something, maybe a reprint going on, and they had these metal balls that you could hold on to on one hand, and if you thought a positive thought, it would go one way. The electrical current would go one way. If you thought a negative thought, it would go the other way. So they asked you questions. And then, and it was interesting to see how they would go one way or the other. And it was 100% accurate each time. Then they said, all right, so think of 10 questions on your own. and or 10 things that are positive or negative, and see which way the current goes. And sure enough, the same thing. You think of something negative or sad, it goes one way, the current to the left or whatever like that, and happy goes to the right. So we know scientifically that we have electricity coursing through us. And you know how when you shock somebody sometimes, and you're shocking people all the time, well, it's probably an excess of electricity that might be from being something negative or bad going on in your life, and it's a buildup of it, or it could be positive. I don't really know how it works, but I can understand how some people might get sucked into it. A lot of people try to say Christianity is a cult, or Hinduism, or and just like I said, I can't tell you guys one way or the other whether Desiree looks like that you're wrong or right, that she looks like Elvis or doesn't look like Elvis. I can't say that you're wrong. So you guys have your opinion, and I appreciate you having your opinion. Spirit, hey, don't go there. Lisa's Elvis's daughter. She was the feminine form of Elvis. Made it to the end. I appreciate you, Spirit. You're on here all the time, and you're a great subscriber. I was just saying that there are some people that have said that, hey, how do we know that Lisa's really the daughter of Elvis? I mean, I think that's what I said in the video. I didn't say I didn't think she was. Priscilla was unfaithful, right? So, but think about it this way: if she was pregnant before the wedding, Elvis wouldn't have married her if he didn't complete the act with Priscilla before the wedding. So he wouldn't have married somebody that was having somebody else's kid, unless the threat was so great from the parents and say, it doesn't really matter, you better marry her and protect her because you promised, and if not, we're going to put you under the jail. I mean, I think of things from so many different angles, and so does everybody else. And there's a lot of people but there are some people that won't question certain things, and I'm not against that. I'm not against that. I really am not, because this world is so uncertain that we try to have some things that are certain to hold on to, right? More uncertainty is just something that is difficult for us to accept. Hey, I'm gonna play. What's up, Tara? I'm gonna play a song for y'all. A song I wrote, and I am going to read this first. Okay, well, actually, let this play. Okay, this is something that I'm aware of, by the way, and I'm not sure if you have it completely right. I think you might have typed in here that Priscilla sold the rights to her first name, not her last, but she sold the rights to the Presley name. That's true. So appreciate this comment. It's a very long, well-written comment. I'm gonna play a song for you. I'll be back, and we'll read some more comments.
She held him close to her heart from the very start. Through every joy and fear, she kept him near and dear, with a love that's pure and true. In everything she'd do, a mother's guiding light shone through the Elvis night. Oh, Gladys loved her son until her big old heart gave out. And there's no greater love than a mother's love. Holding her hand, he found peace, and all her worries would not cease. There shares a bond that never fades, it loves me tender shades. Oh, Gladys loved her son until her big old heart gave out. And there's no greater love than a mother's love. Holding her hand, he found peace, and all her worries would not cease. They shares a bond that never fades, it loves me tender shades. Oh, Gladys loved her son until her big old heart gave out. And there's no greater love than a mother's love. With every note he'd sing, he danced on her heartstrings. Gladys loved her son until her big old heart gave out. And there's no greater love than a mother's love. Yeah, there's no greater love than a mother's love.
Well, we made it through your comment almost. So Priscilla was an absolute idiot to sell off the right to use the Presley name. And this is something we'll probably hear from Bridget herself. I mean, Bridget, she's embroiled in a big lawsuit right now. And from what we know about Priscilla, she claims elder abuse, right? But she was also near the point of bankruptcy when Bridget Cruz and her put that partnership together. So there's a lot more to this story, just like there was a lot more to the lawsuit that she filed versus Riley and Ben. I mean, gosh, drama. Appreciate you making it to the end, by the way, there. Paula says, no way it's Lisa Marie. Not Elvis's daughter to even think. It's totally delusional. However, I do believe that Lisa Marie was conceived before wedlock. I agree with that as well. But, we can't. There's always a possibility, a small possibility of anything, unfortunately. I don't think we need to go there because there's no proof. There was certainly a rushed wedding, but that would spell out that Elvis had gotten Priscilla pregnant, and it was Elvis's child because Elvis, I already talked about that before. But I appreciate your comment. I agree with you, Joe. If Desiree is proven to be Elvis's daughter, she definitely would be at Grayson for his memory to be honored. Yeah, just like Lisa was. And I do not understand why it has not been made a priority, by Riley, and Harper and Finley. Now, Harper and Finley are underage. It doesn't mean they can't be there. I mean, is Elvis Presley Enterprises so cheap they're not going to pay for them to be there? Was that what it came down to? They wanted an appearance fee or they wanted their travel covered, and Elvis Presley Enterprises said no. We don't have an answer to any of that stuff, and I think it's completely ridiculous. I need to do a video just about that. Patrick said, Johnny Cash said he saw Elvis playing stage what a guitar in a club when he started out and said he was great. Yeah, with just a guitar, you're saying. I mean, here's the deal. I mean, I appreciate you saying that. Elvis Presley, he tried to get gigs. He played for free. He honed his craft, and I appreciate that you recognize that as well. I kind of remember what you're talking about with Johnny. And Johnny would know. Johnny was around that area, I think. But was he there in 53? That's a good question, and I think I need to ask because I know he was in the military service. But I thought he ended in 52. Patricia says, Scylla has always been cold and is never a good mother to Lisa. Wicked at times. Yeah, I mean, self-admittedly. She admitted to it. And certainly from what Lisa writes. And Waylon? So are you a Waylon Jennings fan, perhaps? A long time forgotten, had dreams that just fell by the way. Love Waylon Jennings. Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw. Been in trouble with the law since the day he was born. Or they was born, yeah. Desiree who? Nope. I don't believe Elvis had any other children. Regarding Lisa's last day, brutally sad if Danny or Scylla signed DNR. So yeah, you definitely feel strongly about it. And, I don't know. I mean, I believe that Desiree could be. The only person that can say for sure is Lucy, and she's passed away. She knew for sure. And she said for sure Lucy was Elvis's child. Now, Desiree, we don't blame her, for 100% believing what her mother said, right? Why, you wouldn't be a good daughter. You also wouldn't believe a mother unless she was a good mother. Alberta was with Elvis's family a very long time. He called Alberta VO5. Love this love story. Yeah, so do I. I think it's very sweet. So yeah, I mean, that's... And it's going to come down to DNA, but hasn't DNA been so difficult to truly find? And wouldn't it have to be completely validated for it to validate Desiree? And don't we think that most people have probably been told not to give DNA? And then here's the other thing. Those that think that they have the Presley DNA, if they're profiting off of it from having YouTube channels or having public appearances and stuff like that, why in the world would they want to potentially, in a sense, test their parents? There's a lot of affairs that have happened in the world. And what happens if they were not a Presley? Their whole world will unravel. SDHS cross country. The ex-husband can't be the one to make that decision, not unless he was in the will. The hospital could have waited until Riley got there. Maybe Lisa Marie had not yet made a will. Oh, she did. She had a will and trust. And they looked to Priscilla as the next kin. The son of Patricia Parker. Now, this is that paternity suit that happened in 1969, 1970, and it stretched out for, I think, almost 6 years. She was the one with the maternity case against Elvis. I guess that's the one that John O'Grady was on. That's true. That's the one he was put on. If Desiree can claim being the child, these others could also be. And I have looked into others, by the way. I personally have not seen or heard of anybody that really is. I know we've talked about John Smith Presley or John, whatever his name is. I think it's John Smith Presley. And he claims he's got DNA and claims a show is coming out on Netflix. But unfortunately, that it's not coming out of Netflix. I was looking the other day, and he had a crowdfunding of $750,000 that if he could have got funded, then they could shoot the filming and put it out there, or maybe put it out there. But it had $0 donated to it. But yeah, Bridget Cruz. You're talking about Bridget Cruz again, about the video of the man that his sister had a relationship. So yeah, I definitely I know about all that stuff, and I appreciate you bringing it up. But it's difficult. It's difficult to find DNA that would still be lasting from 50 years. Think about that. You would have to get it from a relative that was verifiable. And think about this. What if Desiree tested with a Presley and it showed up that they didn't match? It doesn't mean that Desiree is not the daughter of Elvis. That just means that the person that gave the DNA might not be a Presley either. So it gets crazy and wonky, all this stuff. That's how difficult. That's why it's so difficult. And by the way, Donna Presley, I talked to her at her official page. She has never offered to give DNA to Desiree, like some of the Lollipop Kids pages on Facebook and YouTube claim. They're fake profiles, but they're dumb enough to believe that that's a real profile. It's not a real profile. Or they created them themselves to cast more shadow of doubt because their life is so small and insignificant that's their mission, to try to disparage somebody else. Hey, you made it to the end, says Diane Ward. I appreciate you making it to the end. And your next comment, so sad how Prissy has hurt so many family members. And I think you might be talking about how she basically cut about everybody out of the Elvis Presley Enterprises and appearing at places and and allowing them in a sense to tell their story and compensate them for it, because she kept the money for herself. She kept the control so tight. And then a lot of the personal effects of Elvis that might have been given away, she sued to get them back. Stuff like that. Jane says, I think it was disgusting that they didn't wait for Riley to get there. I believe so as well. Hey, let me play another song here, and then we'll get out of here, okay? Love y'all very much, and I appreciate you being part of this channel. And please don't take offense if I don't get to your comments right away. TCB, right? Says, Lucy remembered in her book exactly what she wore in certain situations, moments. That's so many years ago. I don't remember what clothes I wore 20 years ago. That's the only thing that makes me have doubts. That's a good point. But, if you have only so many memories of a person and times that you spent with him. And there were maybe things that you bought especially for that occasion, or the difference between Elvis wearing tight pants and loose pants, stuff like that. I can reason that sort of stuff. Love Not Hate says, this is so nice, Joe. It's great to hear you on the piano breaking it up, the story a bit. Thank you for letting us know you play, and I can promise you that we think you're really good. Well, that's very sweet. Thank you. I'm okay on piano, and I'm hoping to get better, because I'm actually playing it 15-20 minutes a day, and I've never done that in my life. I've had decades go by without touching the piano. Thank you so much. All right, here's a song called Black and White that I wrote in honor of Elvis.
Would the world still be painted black and white if that Technicolor voice had never sung? Would Pat Boone still be the hunk of burning love? Would the world have ever heard Ray Charles or James Brown if Elvis Presley's folks hadn't moved to Memphis town? We went from 0 to 100 miles per hour, from just a seed to a field of golden flowers, from horse and buggy to a rocket ship. Elvis did that with a shake of his hips. Some people try to say he stole his sound. Elvis just sang from down within his soul. With just his voice he broke the great divide between all music that was black and white. B.B. King and Little Richard thanked him. Elvis took the racist world and changed them. We went from 0 to 100 miles per hour, from just a seed to a field of golden flowers, from horse and buggy to a rocket ship. Elvis did that with a shake of his hips. Yeah, hips. This world would look like a different place if we never got to gaze on Elvis' face. We went from 0 to 100 miles per hour, from just a seed to a field of golden flowers, from horse and buggy to a rocket ship. Elvis did that with a shake of his hips. Yes, Elvis did that with a shake of his hips. Yeah, yeah.
All right, Sun, Moon, and Stars. There's documentation of Elvis's made that Elvis was crying and sad. He was forced into marriage. Yes, I mean, there is. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, I think Derry said this best one time. He said something about, if there's just one person that saw something, that's good enough. It doesn't have to be 5 people or 10 people. He was talking about, the old timers, 12, 15 people that remembered Elvis being down there in 53, including Hank Sr.'s widow. And so I appreciate that you chose to put that, Sun, Moon, and Stars. And you certainly read a lot of Elvis books. And, maybe we do read some of these other books that are out there, like Letters from Elvis. Maybe we read the Grace Pearl thing. And I would say I would read them with a little reluctance myself. Not that I'm going to discount the fact that y'all are saying that there's stuff in there that I do believe there's potential there, but that being said, I just got home, so I hope you'll have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening and a great day tomorrow, and I do appreciate your comments, I do appreciate your thoughts, I do appreciate your opinions, and I greatly appreciate the love that you have for Elvis, and I hope that you have the same sort of love for those that are near you, okay, because we all deserve to be living in households where we love each other, right? And we value each other. And I value y'all, okay? I value each and every one of y'all. Even some of the lollipop kids, and some of the lollipop kids have come back and said, hey, I'm not a lollipop kid, I'm just a doubter. And I never accuse them of being lollipop kids. It's those people that are mean and nasty and so negative that they'll never be open-minded. Even if there's DNA evidence, they would find some way to say that she faked it. And that's what I talk about. So let's see here. She held his hand while a long needle was inserted into his eye due to glaucoma. We're talking about Joyce. Spent time with him 69 to 71. Night after night, going to sleep and waking with him in Vegas, Grace in Washington, D.C. Became pregnant with his baby at one point. He installed a private telephone in her apartment in D.C. Yeah, I've got the book, and I'm definitely going to read it, okay? Elvis he could not be alone any day. You're very correct that now when he did take some time alone, it was to meditate, it was to read, it was to be spiritual. But I definitely see your point there, okay? Which means, to me, that adds more evidence that Lucy was very important to him. All right, TCB TLC, I'm going to play another song while these comments play. Eagle Ariel, I appreciate you being on here. Too young, you're right.
There's one king above all, a light that never fades, a name that we call in every prayer we say. Through every storm we face, he stands tall and true, lifts us up with his grace, shows what love can do. There's only one king, that's Jesus. Only one king that guides and frees us. Every eye closed and every hand raised. There's only one king, that's Jesus. Set Elvis up on stage. In the darkest of the nights, when hope seems all but lost, his light it shines so bright because he took up the cross. There's only one king, that's Jesus. Only one king that guides and frees us. Every head bowed and every hand raised. There's only one king, that's Jesus. Set Elvis up on stage. In the darkest of the nights, when hope seems all but lost, his light it shines so bright because he took up the cross. There's only one king, that's Jesus. Only one king that guides and frees us. Every head bowed and every hand raised. There's only one king, that's Jesus. Set Elvis up on stage. He gave his life for us so that we all may live. Only one king, that's Jesus. Only one king that guides and frees us. Every head bowed and every hand raised. There's only one king, that's Jesus. Set Elvis up on stage.
Thanks for tuning in, TCB TLC. Until next time, tune in for Dairy Matera's video tomorrow.